On this series of videos, we're going to look at opening principles, general guidelines you should follow to be able to play a good opening without having to memorize lots and lots of variations. Now, of course, there are always exceptions to every rule. So these are guidelines. There are exceptions to everything that you will see in this series of videos. However, as a general idea of how to play the opening, you'll learn things you should do in the opening and things that you should avoid doing. The opening of a chess game is a fight for the center being the four middle squares on a chessboard, the ones you see colored red here. Most of your opening moves, if not all, should be geared toward either occupying or controlling and influencing these central four squares. Let's look at an example of what we mean by central control. Let's say that white and black played a game in which black agreed that white could make as many moves as he wanted to as long as no piece or pawn crossed the central line of the chessboard. This would be an ideal setup for white. He has two pawns, which are occupying the center, plus influencing, guarding several squares on black's half of the board, including two key central squares. The knights have developed toward the center, where they influence those two key central squares, as well as guard their own pawns. The bishops have come forward toward the center to guard these two squares again. Plus, after castling, the queen moves up, and the rooks move to the center. And now the heavy pieces, the queen and the rooks, also guard the two key pawns that white has put in the board center. Of course, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if the situation was reversed and white allowed black to make as many moves as he wanted to, as long as nothing crossed this central line, you would see the same kind of a setup for black. Pawns in the center, minor pieces guarding the pawns or influencing the squares in front of them, and the heavy pieces backing up the pawns, guarding them so that they can advance.